Hello, social workers. Welcome to the CBT Case Conceptualization video. You have made it to the big second assignment of the course. Awesome. Keep up the good work. In this video, I want to break down the assignment step by step and give you tips and hints so you can be successful. We want you to be successful in this course, and we want you to be successful practitioners outside of this course. And case conceptualization is a fantastic skill to develop. So the best place to start is week 3, module 5, where we actually discuss case conceptualization. So if you haven't already, go to that module. There's a practice case study on Braun there. There is some videos, and we really explain this concept. So make sure you have reviewed that material and understand it. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the Q&A board. The next thing you want to do is to familiarize yourself with the case study. This case study is about a young woman named Michelle. So go ahead and print. I'm old school, so I'll say print, but you may just review it on your computer. But go ahead and read and be very familiar with the case study. I actually suggest that you read it 2 or 3 times before even doing the assignment, just so you have a clear understanding of the case. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually break down, this is the case conceptualization form, you see my notes. I'm going to break down step by step each section so you have a clear understanding of what we're expecting to see in each section. So in the very first section, we have the diagnosis and symptoms section. So if you're currently in the DSM class, or you've taken the DSM class, we expect you to go ahead and do a formal diagnosis with the codes and everything. If you have not taken that class, go ahead and don't do a formal diagnosis. That would be outside your scope of practice because you haven't learned that skill, so don't do it. However, whether you're in the DSM class or have taken the DSM class or not, we expect everyone to note the symptoms that are present for Michelle. So go ahead and note that. Okay, after the diagnosis and symptoms section, you're going to go to the formative influences. And what the formative influences are events, people in her life that have made her the person who she is. Generally, not just with this case study, when we think of formative influences, it's events or things that have guided people. So if, as a young child, your parents went through a very messy divorce and that had a big impact and you ended up moving around a lot, that would definitely be a formative influence. Formative influences don't always have to be these like negative events. If you had if you played a sports team and you had a really great coach who's a mentor that really helped guide you throughout your life, then that would be a formative influence. If you have, if you've had a talent and you really use that talent to develop it and it really helped you, then that would be a formative influence. So formative influences can be both positive and negative. So just keep in mind that. The next section is situational issues. Now the situational issues are the things that brought the client in to see you. So what is happening right now that is causing the client to seek treatment? So very straightforward. The next section is the biological, genetic, and medical factors section. So these are any biological or medical factors that are influencing the symptoms noted above. You you also want to note what's medically important that you may not know. So it's like, I may not know this, but this is something I should look into. I'll give you a big hint right now. In Michelle's case, it mentions nothing of biological or kind of medical factors. But when you're reading this case, what is it in that area of biological, medical, or genetic factors that you wish you knew? You know, is there a history of depression or this or that? So don't leave it blank. Some students will say, oh, there's no medical factors, NA. No, what you need to do is note what you would like to know, what would be important to this case to investigate. Okay, the next section is the strength and assets. And this is just not a quickly click in the box, get done with this assignment. No, we are social workers. We practice from a strengths perspective. So put on that social worker hat and be intentional. What are the strengths that you can infer about the client from this case study? Use your critical thinking skills. They're not completely out there. You're going to have to look for them. But there are a lot of strengths that this young woman has. Please note them. Okay. Now the next one is the events and automatic thoughts, emotion, behavior section. This ends up being that little chart. Let me explain this because there's always lots of questions about this part of the assignment. Hopefully these automatic events, automatic thoughts, emotion, behavior, hopefully this chart looks a little familiar to you from the Mind Over Mood book. So what we're going to do is to go ahead and read the case study and identify 3 different events. And for each event, what are the automatic thoughts that the client might be thinking? What are the emotions that the client might be feeling? And what are the behaviors? Now, this is a case study. This isn't a real client. Not every single piece of information you need is written in the case study. It is 100% okay, and in fact, you need to, in order to be successful, it's okay to make inferences. So in the case study, it doesn't say, here's Michelle's automatic thoughts. You're going to have to infer based on what you read, what those thoughts may be. And a lot of times in the very beginning when we're working with clients and we're trying to kind of hypothesize their automatic thoughts, we don't know them yet. We haven't quite discovered them yet. So this is totally okay. So go ahead and hypothesize or infer what her automatic thoughts, emotions, and behaviors might be. The behaviors are actually written in the case study pretty good. But what might be those thoughts and feelings that go along with it? Okay, let me give you another hint, and this is a pro tip from me to you. When you read the case study, you're going to automatically see like 2 major events. You're going to be like, oh, this event, this event. And some students are like, oh, I don't see a 3rd event. There are multiple events here, and let me kind of explain this concept. An event is anything that kind of has its own distinct thought patterns, feelings, and behaviors with it. So in this case study, there's 2 major events, but there's also other events. So you might think, well, this event may have caused this event. That's okay. If this event has its own automatic thought pattern and emotions and behaviors with it, then that makes it an event. So so go ahead and know that there are more than just 2. If you have any questions, reach out. But go ahead and put on that critical thinking hat. Okay, so based on the automatic thoughts, the behaviors, the emotions. The next section we want you to do is to go ahead and hypothesize what might be her schemas. Again, this isn't written in the case study. You're going to have to kind of hypothesize, and we do that a lot as we're working with clients in the beginning. Of course, when we talk about schemas, these are the core beliefs. The book has a great resource. On pages 129 through 132, they list examples of common types of schemas. So feel free to read that and kind of match those kind of schemas that you're seeing in with Michelle, and kind of go ahead and don't just put the schema, explain why that is fitting Michelle. So don't just put, the core belief is this, and then and be done with it. No, put the core belief and then kind of your reasoning why you feel this is a core belief. Okay, the next section is the working hypothesis section, and this is for you. This is for you to kind of free think and have a space to kind of say what's going on, what direction you should be going, what you think is happening. So this is kind of your chance to kind of think about the case in a 360-degree way. The next section are treatment goals, and this is an area that sometimes students have struggled, so we've added an extra resource for you. We have had one of our amazing co-instructors, Erica Lima, go ahead and do a short 3 to 5 minutes, I think it's about 4 minutes long, video on SMART goals. And SMART goals are goals that are measurable and are perfect for treatment plan. She walks you through it. It is worth the watch, not just for this assignment, but it's a great skill to understand. So go ahead. It's going to be where this video is, and I'm also going to put it in week 3, module 5. So you'll be able to see it there. So take about 4 minutes and watch that video. But then that will tell you how to do treatment goals. So after you've watched the video and you've made amazing treatment goals, go ahead and write the treatment plan. And this, we want you to be specific. What are you going to actually do with the client? You might include some worksheets that, from Mind Over Mood looks like. You might use some mindfulness techniques, which we're going to learn about in some upcoming modules. Whatever it may be, I should read this, or the teachers grading this assignment should read this and have a clear understanding, if Michelle was your client, what you would be doing what interventions you would be using to help her. However you want the treatment plan and the treatment goals to look like, it doesn't matter kind of the style. You can just list them. You can kind of get fancy and do bullet points and indentations and all of that fancy stuff. Whatever you do, just make it clear that we can understand. I'm not looking for a specific format. Sometimes in treatment plans, there are some specific formats. Nope, we're just kind of looking for the information and not the style it's in. Okay, and then finally, the last section is questions for further exploration. This is your chance to kind of put on that critical thinking hat. If you were really working with Michelle, what would be the things that you would want to know? You may not, that next session of meeting with her, and ask all these questions, but throughout your time with her, what would be things you'd want to investigate and know in order to treat her in the most effective way. Okay, this is that way to demonstrate professional curiosity. Once you're done with that, as always, go ahead and proofread it, make sure it all is making sense. Go ahead and grab the rubric and grade yourself, making sure that you are meeting all the fulfillments of the rubric. I always find when students take that extra step, it really does improve their grade. So look at the rubric. As always, if you have questions, reach out to me, reach out to your co-instructors, and post on the Q&A board. You're doing fantastic in this class. This has been one of our best cohorts of this class. You guys have been asking great questions, demonstrating critical thinking skills. It's been a joy to read your work, and I can't wait to do so on this assignment. Good luck. Have a great week.